Welcome everyone to TriTech University. My name is Bill Steppen, and today we're going to start looking into some best backup practices for your AIM system. As always, over to the right-hand side of the screen, you can click the chat option next to the playlist, and then go ahead and click the nickname button down at the bottom to log in. And that way you can say hi to me. I'll be able to see that you're here, and you can let me know if you've got any questions on what we're covering. But as always, let's just go ahead and jump over into my screen over here to the left of me for my AIM login. So now, when it comes to best practices for backup, you've got a built-in one into AIM version 12, which you never had available in version 11. So for those of you who are in attendance today, I'll be looking over here just to see if there's any incoming questions. But for those of you today who are coming from that, you're going to be, I'm sure, very happy to hear that there is a built-in backup, but you don't have to rely on that, and there are some limitations to it. So I want to make sure all of this makes sense. So what am I talking about with this built-in backup utility? Well, if you come into the admin menu, and then here in the admin menu is the utilities menu, and then from there you'll see this utility called database backup. When you click this, it will basically go ahead and create a backup just like that. You click the OK button, and then just like that, your data is backed up. Now, of course, I have a very minimal amount of data here in this copy, in this training system, so it will probably take a little bit longer. I haven't heard any instances where the backup takes an exponential amount of time, but you should be able to do that backup, and then I think you can do this. I'm pretty sure. I haven't heard any issues where this was not the case. But you can do this backup even when people are in the system doing things. So you don't have to kick everyone out to do the backup. What that does is that creates a backup file. Let me go ahead and pull up just my normal file explorer. In your program files folder on your server, there will be a Microsoft SQL server folder. And this is assuming you're using the SQL Express, which I would say 99% of you are using. You'll then have what's basically the database folder. If you're not sure which database folder it is, back here in AIM, if you go to your About AIM, let me just kind of pull this up over here. But in AIM, there should be, you kind of going to see this where it says AIM SQL. That should be your indicator of what that is. So back over here, you kind of see this says AIM SQL. As I hover over it and actually block it. But then in there, you'll see there will be a backup folder, and right here is the backup that I literally just did. You can see it's actually got the date modified of the 10/7/2021. And in fact, if I make this a little bit bigger, you can kind of see it's in the file name itself too, 2021 10/7 T130207, which is 1:02 in the afternoon here. Now, this backup, you can see, is pretty small. It's only about 89 meg. Now, I've been told by our IT people that you can actually zip this up even smaller than that. You can right-click in here and send this to a compressed file. So when you compress that file, you can see it shrinks down a lot further than that even. So once you've compressed it, it goes down to about an eighth of the size or so. This backup is most useful when you take it off site at the end of the day. So what I would recommend doing is going up one folder from there and right-clicking and basically sending a shortcut of this backup folder to your desktop. Create a shortcut. So then that way, if I just kind of minimize everything here, there will be a backup that you can then just double-click on to get right there at the end of the day. So when you are running the backup at the end of the day, hi Justin, how's it going? You can then just do the backup. There will be the file, right-click and compress it. Then from there, if you've got like a thumb drive that you can plug into your computer, you can then come down and send that file to your thumb drive, assuming it's plugged in, and it should show up right there. That way you can stick the thumb drive in your pocket, head home, and then, knock on wood that this never happens, but if the shop burns down or something happens to the physical server computer, you've got that backup in your pocket where you can then get a brand new computer. You can reinstall a copy of AIM off of our website, re-download it, and then ultimately you'll be able to restore that backup. Now, that being said, you won't be able to just directly restore that backup. If I come back into AIM, just to kind of pop this back up, you'll see there is an option to restore database backup. But if you were to click this button, this only works if the backup was generated exactly using this particular instance of AIM and its database. So if you did do what I was just saying, where you had to actually reinstall it on a brand new computer, and now you've got AIM loaded on a new computer, and you come and you try and point it to this backup file, it's not going to work. You can still use it, and our support team can help you restore that backup. We would go through what's known as a SQL System Management Studio, I think is what it's called, and massage some of the functions and settings in that file so that you can technically restore from that backup. But you may want to investigate third-party options. So the important thing to realize when we're talking about using a third-party backup solution is there's essentially two things to consider. There's the area where the data itself is installed and stored, and there's the AIM system itself. In version 11 and older, those were one and the same. It was all in one self-contained area. But in version 12, if I bring this backup folder back up, everything regarding the data of your system is in this folder. You can kind of see here's the data folder, and this is in that program files, Microsoft SQL Server, etc., etc., etc. So everything relating to my data is actually over in this data folder. It is not in the AIM folder, which if we go back to the C drive, here is the program itself, the AIM folder on the C drive by default. So everything regarding the program is here. Everything regarding the data is back over in this SQL folder, this MS SQL folder. So if you are going to use a third-party backup, you will want to make sure that you are grabbing both of those two file locations, the SQL folder, and in fact it's probably easiest just to go ahead and back up this entire Microsoft SQL Server folder, and then back in AIM, make sure you're backing up this folder as well. So just something to consider with that. Getting back to the built-in backup, something that you may find really handy just because this is a nice and quick backup that you can do is you can set up what's known as a task to automate this step. So here in the admin utilities menu, you can come in and you can create a task. I think I've talked about tasks in a prior live stream, and I know I've done a video on it at some point, so definitely look for that in the video portal here in AIM. And I won't go through the whole thing here step by step, but in essence, backup. If you create a backup task, and we'll just give it the parameter ID of backup. Again, I go into a lot more detail on what all of this means and stuff like that in that other recording. But if you come down in here and add an action to that of database backup, let's see, where is it? I think I already went past it. Backup database. And basically save that as a task. You can then set up in what's known as the task scheduler in Windows. I'll just do a bring this up here. You just go to your start menu and literally type in task scheduler, and it'll take you right to this. So you would then create a basic task by using this basic task wizard, point it to the aim.exe, give it that parameter ID of task backup or whatever you named it, and then you can schedule it to happen every day at let's say 8 o'clock in the evening or 12 o'clock in the morning or whenever it's going to run. And then as long as the computer is on, it will run. And I would recommend setting that task up on the AIM server itself. That way you only have to worry about having the server on. You don't have to worry about having both the server on and a workstation computer. So that task is going to be phenomenal for, again, just making sure that that nice, quick, and overall easy backup is there and ready to go. Now, if you do set that up to run every night at, like, say, midnight or 1 in the morning, just bear in mind that is going to save in that default folder, that backup folder buried in the program files directory. So it's not going to be off-site with you. You may want to have that backup be run prior to that you'd be leaving, so that the last thing you do on the way out the door is to come to this folder, grab that file, copy it to your thumb drive, and then head out the door. So yeah, I basically just wanted to point all that out. Let me know if that makes sense over in the chat menu. And then our IT person did suggest that if there is a third-party backup that you are wanting to look at, but maybe you haven't decided on, he said that there is a free one available. Let me go ahead and pull up a new browser window here. It is called SQL Backup Master. So you can go to just your search engine and do a search for SQL Backup Master. And it should be the first result right here. So I haven't used this myself, but apparently this is something that we use here. It's a free download. It's free to use. There are pricing tiers available for it that I've seen. So here at the free $1 level, you can basically do all of the backups that you need with it. What it does not do is back up automatically to external sites like Google Drive or OneDrive or things like that. So if you did want it to automatically back that data up externally, then you may want to consider the other price points. I believe these are one-time price points. That being said, this is not the end-all be-all backup solution that's outside AIM. I mean, you could use services such as Davinsa, which is like a cloud-based backup service. You could use other types of third-party right on the computer programs or right on the computer server programs that back up. You just want to make sure, again, that if you do use those external or third-party backup utilities, that you are making sure to back up that SQL server folder and your program files, as well as the AIM folder on your server. If you back up both of those and then you ever have to restore them, and again, this is in theory, I haven't tested this myself, but you should be able to then simply just restore it and be like you never had a problem with the system, unlike what I was mentioning with the backups that get built into AIM, where if you needed to restore that backup into a newly or a freshly installed copy of AIM, you would need our supports assistants to go in and essentially repair that with your newly installed system. It can be done. We do it all the time here. If we ever have a support issue where we need to request your data, in essence, we are restoring that backup. We just need to go in and essentially remove some pairing details so that we can actually open it up in a restored copy, and that's essentially what our support team would help you do with that process. So that is in essence it. I'm certainly open to any inquiries that you have regarding backups. But I do want to talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule. So I think, as you were probably aware from when I announced the October schedule, it's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, today is not the normal live stream broadcast day. It would normally be next Tuesday. I am most likely going to be out of the office next Tuesday, I will be out of the office the following Thursday. So for the rest of this month, the next scheduled broadcast will be, let me take a look at the calendar here, October 22nd, Friday, October 22nd, and we will be taking a look at, and I have finalized that schedule, so let me actually bring that up. In fact, you could probably see it quicker than I can by clicking over to the playlist over to the right. But that's going to be all about inventory transfers. So when we talk about transfers, we're talking about transferring products out of your inventory. We're talking about transferring them back into inventory. We're talking about transferring them from one store to another if you've got multiple store locations. So definitely check that out if you want to make sure that you're tracking your inventory, again, kind of with best practices in mind. So we'll be going into a lot of detail with all of that. And then the following Tuesday, the 26th, right? Yes, the following Tuesday after that, we're going to be looking at deliveries. So these are all suggestions that came in from the poll that everyone filled out, which I'm super thankful for. I want to, again, make sure I'm doing these broadcasts to fit what you want to hear. So on that Tuesday the 26th, we're going to be talking about the delivery tracking functions within AIM, not only for just basic store sales, but also for rentals. We'll be taking a look at some of the additional features that are available with that. So the scheduling of deliveries, the fulfillment of deliveries, making sure that your products are ready to go for those deliveries. And then the polls are now reopened for the month of November and beyond live stream topics. So I did manage to glean and record what some of the other suggestions are. So I know that there's interest on things like custom reports and accounts receivable customer purchase order tracking and things like that. A lot of serialized acquisition disposition questions for those of you who are in our firearms industry pool. But definitely check out the poll up at the top right of this screen to make suggestions of other live stream topics that you'd like to see me do. And one overwhelming question, which wasn't so much a live stream suggestion, but just something here on the video portal in general, was a way to search all of the existing videos. So as you may or may not be aware, let me see if I can open up a copy of the videos that I can then bring over onto the screen. Let's see here. Not that. Will this work? Okay, so bring this over to here and then switch back over so that you can see my screen. So on the video portal, as you might be aware, when you click this search button, it only searches the playlist that you're on. So like, for example, right now, if you type in inventory, it only finds matches relating to inventory on the Quick Start playlist. But for every industry, I have created a playlist now called All Videos. So if you want to make sure you're finding everything there is to know about a given topic, make sure you switch that playlist to say All Videos and then type in your inquiry, if you remember how to type, and you'll see it's now coming back with a lot more results regarding inventory. So that way you don't have to worry about which playlist you might be on. You can just go straight to the All Videos one, do your search, and that way you'll find those matches. And that way you don't even have to worry about going and remembering what playlist it's on. You can just make your inquiry there, go straight to it, and then it will go ahead and start playing. So hopefully that is helpful. That is live for our music customers, for our firearms customers, and I'm still in the process of making sure I've got all of the videos, the all video playlists curated for our consignments, our golf, all of our other industries as well. So thank you so much for all of the suggestions. Justin, I see you're saying thanks for the suggestion of SQL Backup Master. You have used the Windows Server Backup and Backup executables before, and you appreciate the stream. Well, Justin, I appreciate you being in attendance. Thank you so much for the feedback. If you have any other live stream topic suggestions, I don't know if you had made any of these for this month, but definitely check out the poll and leave your suggestions there, because yeah, I want to make sure these are not just me talking into the wind, that you get some use out of these live streams. So we'll hang out here for a few more minutes if there's any other Q&A that you have regarding backups and backup procedures. But that is about everything that I really had. I kind of overshot my normal half-hour window there, but that's okay. I think the takeaway of it is that we've really tried to make sure that the backups that are available to you are as simple as possible. Because while version 11 was a pretty simple thing to back up, where you could just go into the server folder and right-click on the AIM-SI folder and basically just zip that up, and that was your backup. You had to make sure everyone was out of the system, and then, of course, you had to make sure that no one was, basically had to restore to the exact same spot. So now it's a lot simpler to do with version 12. But yeah, we may just call this one early. I don't see any other questions coming in. So definitely stick around for is it next week? So the week after, the week after Friday. The Friday after next, I guess, or maybe 2 Fridays after next if I'm doing the proper vernacular. And then the Tuesday after that. And then we'll be building November's live stream suggestions here very soon. And then we're heading right into the holiday season. So if you got any timely topics that you'd like to talk about regarding sales, Black Fridays, seasonal, anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, I guess we'll see you all here in a couple of weeks. I hope you're all able to make it a great day. And if there's any questions in the meantime, give our support and sales teams a call, because we're always here waiting to make sure that you're getting the most out of your system. We'll see you soon. Take care.